Hi guys, so I'm back with another bit, and today I was going to be talking about the Avengers video game. Now it came out I think a few days ago, and I have been playing it, and I just gotta say, I enjoyed it. For me as a Marvel fan or Avengers fan, I really enjoyed the heck out of this game. But there is some things that's in it. Most of the game is pretty fun. Most of it, I highly recommend playing it because obviously I'm not going to spoil too much of the story, but I might say a spoiler alert for the story. So, you have been warned. So, honestly, I think the game is really dang great. On the first opening, like the very first opening, like the very first one, it has a so it starts off with Mrs. Marvel, where she was a kid, or a teenager, or a kid, and pretty much it goes from like where she has to get all the 5 free comics to get to this one area in the A-Day area, Avengers Day, which was the thing that they had to go to. And basically, she sees all the Avengers one by one, and then it goes up to like San Francisco bridge just blows up out of nowhere, and so basically Avengers have to go stop that, and then it ends up with Cap people think Cap is dead. Of course, to the end. After that, the Avengers were disassembled. But it's up to Mrs. Marvel, when she was a teenager, to bring back or try to get the team back together because ever since the Avengers went down, another enemy place in the comics, AIM, decides to obviously be evil people, and they go after these Inhumans for this blue diamond smoke that blew up with the hair carrier. So Mrs. Marvel obviously tries to find each of the Avengers. She first finds Hulk, which obviously the Hulk was he was like already green and big and obviously almost killed her. I mean, that's kind of something like the Hulk would do, right? I mean, if he went after you'd be scared. And so then, after that, we had Iron Man. After that, then you go to Iron Man after you get to the Hulk. Now, Iron Man is probably my favorite Marvel hero, and I did enjoy his moments. And then after that, I think it's a few other moments that you actually see Black Widow and then Thor. And then you find Cap not dead. So that's pretty much how you're going to find the characters one by one. But anyway, with the story, it's basically they go to a secret AIM hideout trying to get Jarvis back, trying to get the system to put into the abandoned hair carrier that crashed in the ocean with the blue explosion. So basically they found it in the desert area. I guess it was teleported, I guess. And so pretty much they had to find Jarvis, put Jarvis into the ship for it to access other areas of the ship. So I kind of did like that, and Iron Man, you get to see him. I liked his homemade suit. He didn't have the full on armor. It was just like arm gloves, helmet, and just jet boots, just the boots. So it kind of reminded me of when he first started his homemade suit back in Iron Man 1. So I think that was kind of cool. Then his prototype Iron Man armor, then his full on iconic red and gold armor. And at one point you do meet Hank Pym, who was Ant-Man in the comics. And Scott Lang did become Ant-Man later on in the comics. So Hank Pym was the original Ant-Man. And so that's pretty much that part. And then after that we got to Mrs. Marvel gets captured, and Black Widow has the saber. Now there's one villain later on, which I'll get to him. So pretty much then after that, then we get to the hair carrier where it's crashing down because the AIM soldiers found the person they captured, and they pretty much was one of the main people, which her name was Monica in the actual storyline. And of course the guy, and when Thor comes by, they save the hair carrier. The hair carrier is about to crash down into the city. So, and the hair carrier is out of power. So I think the most awesome moment in the entire game, Thor had to harness every power of electricity as possible with his hammer and bring all the electricity into the ship and power it back up before it hits the city. It just goes like that. That is just freaking awesome. That, I'm like, that is what this scene needed. And honestly, that's one of my all-time favorite moments from any Avengers media. And then of course, they did look over the footage of when Cap died. Pretty much the scientist guy locked Cap in there so Cap could die. But that guy later on becomes MODOK. Which if you don't know, he's pretty much a big head. Pretty much a big head in a chair with little arms and little legs. So that's pretty much his character. Now Cap, you do find him in space, I did find that pretty cool. That I was like, is that Cap in the cryogenic freezing like in the movies? It was. So I think it was kind of cool to see him, and then also obviously all the Avengers back together. But there was one thing I did notice is some characters are missing. Not every character. Hawkeye was missing from the original 6. Because up here, Hawkeye was one of the original 6 members. Hawkeye is going to be a DLC. So I really enjoyed the heck out of the game. I think it's a very fun game. Mostly the campaign, honestly. Mostly the story. The story is the funnest part. And also in the Hurricane, there's also each Avenger has a different room. And at the end of the game, I decided to pick a different character, have Thor go into Iron Man's room, Iron Man go into Cap's room, or Cap go into Iron Man's room. And he's like, this place is a mess, Tony. Or something like that. Mostly the funny quips and lines, that's what the Avengers had. Specifically Age of Ultron. They had a bunch of funny lines and quips. They still have that in this. So it's nice they kind of kept that humor. I enjoyed it, honestly. It's probably one of my favorite superhero games. And I want a sequel to it already, but I've had to wait a couple years to see that. So, by far, I enjoyed it. The most fun. I think I like it even more than Spider-Man. But that's just my opinion. So, let me know your guys' opinions in the comments and tell me what your thoughts on about the game. And so we'll see you next time.